And here we go. Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Community Hotline, a place for everyday community members to be heard and share their personal experiences with the youth. I'm your host, Bob Fang, and today we have John. John, why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself?
Oh, okay. Yeah, hi, I'm John. I'm in my 30s. I won't tell you exactly how old am I. I believe I still look in my 20s, right? Yeah, I'm married with two kids. My wife, June, and my daughters, Jaylin and Jaslyn. Um, I'm an accountant by profession. What I like to do in my free time or in my pastime is to actually um, um, help the community in terms of special needs. So I'm actually serving actively in my church in the special need ministry. We call it Joy Club. So every Sunday we actually play basketball with them from 1 p.m. to 3 p.m. And most of them are, as I've said, are people with sorry, of them are young adults, age somewhere around 16 to even 30 something. Yep. And as I said, they have autism. If you are aware with the term, you have low functioning, high functioning people with autism, and also those with Down syndrome and slow learning abilities also do join us as well. Yeah. So yep. And in the past, I was involved also in also helping out in the refugee community. Yep. So that's a bit about myself. Yep. Okay.
John, the man with the good heart, the big heart. I appreciate that. All right, let's get into the first question of the day. Let's get super deep with it so we can set the tone. Tell us, what are three defining moments in your life and how did they impact you?
Okay. The first defining moment was when I was bullied in school. When I was bullied in primary school. Um. Um. eh, to okay. Let me maybe tell you how I felt looking at it from hindsight first. So now looking at it at hindsight, I understand that I was bullied because I'm a socially awkward person, right? I do not know how to socialize with others, and I just think perhaps my mind is just wired very differently from the norm. So that's probably the reason why I get bullied. And on top of that, I was suffering from inferiority complex. So people that suffer from inferiority complex tend to talk the loudest, shout the loudest, and uh, annoy others on purpose. Okay. Um. So, but I'm thankful that now when I have my reunion with my classmates, right? In my same year in primary and in secondary school, I'm thankful that I actually do get along with them and they've sort of accepted me just as the way I am. Okay. So then the second defining moment is actually when I would say when I had my first child, Jaylin. So me being a Christian, that me being born in a Christian family, um, I used to not take my Christian faith very seriously. But then when my first child came into my life, that was the time when I was just thanking God in my heart that I had been ungrateful and rebellious, and blessed me with a healthy child. Right? Yes, I may not be rich, but you have provided for all my needs and for my baby's needs as well. So that was my second defining moment, and that's when I gave my life to my Lord and Savior Jesus Christ. Okay. And finally, my third defining moment is the following year when one day one of this special need parent actually approached my brother, who is the youth leader of my church at that time, told him that there are many actually special needs in the youth ministry. Why not you do something intentional by creating a special need ministry? And to cut a long story short, somehow I became the leader of that ministry, and for 6 years it has already been running, and the rest is history. So why this third defining moment is also very important in my life is because in my first defining moment when I was bullied in school, I understand the pain and hurt, how it feels to be alone and isolated and unable, to connect with others and to be socially awkward. So when I look at people with special needs, I feel the burden, and I have that oath within me. I made an oath to myself, so to speak, that as far as possible, I do not want any of them to have to go through the kind of pain that I went through as well. Yep. Okay.
I love that, bro. Thank you for
Yeah.
sharing. No, that was great. That was great. That was great. We're gonna get a little bit deeper into each of those topics, but kind of to recap, the first defining moment is when you were bullied in school. The second one was your first child. Was it silly or
Sorry. Jaelyn. Jaelyn.
Jane Lee?
Sorry. J for John. A for Apple. E
Yeah,
for enemy. So Jae. L for Lily. Y for Yankee. N for Nemo. So Jaelyn.
Jalen. Jalen.
Yeah.
Got it.
Yeah.
Got it. And then your third one was creating and leading the special needs ministry.
Yeah.
Uh, Great. Let's start with education then. Um, tell us, tell us your personal story about primary school bullying. Walk us through it.
Oh. Okay. Wait, it'll take me some time to recall. Okay. So okay, when you say education, you want me to focus more on what is my experience in terms of going through education in my school, like how are the subjects, how are the teachers like, was it effective, and maybe how the education in Malaysia can improve as a whole, or do you mean more of because bullying itself, it is related, but it may not. So, uh,
I would say just share a personal story about how you felt like you were being
oh,
bullied
okay.
because you were socially awkward.
Oh, okay. So I would say that the teachers in my school actually care about bullying, right? They I mean I did report of cases of me being bullied to teachers, but the teachers would go around and say, but John, actually you're at fault first. You started it first. So as I've said, right, when I look back, actually it was me that annoyed people first, and I thought I was the one being bullied. But there were times as well when there was racial bullying. So in my school, in fact, in Malaysia, as you know, the majority are the Malays. So I was racially bullied. Is that the way to use the word? I was bullied by the Malays. But when I look back as well, I realized that the Malays did not pick on every Chinese. They just pick on a few like me as well. So actually, when I look back, I realized actually it was just me that was annoying and started it first. Uh, of course, I'm not condoning bullying. I'm not saying just because I was annoying, therefore you have the right or the license to bully me. I'm not saying that, but definitely it takes two hands to clap as well. So yeah, I mean the bullying wasn't that bad until I had bruises and I had scars and I had injuries, or major injuries. The bullying was more verbal. I mean, maybe it's just some pushing and that's it. But there was no like punching or kicking. There was no real uh damage on the body or on the face. Uh, in fact, that bullying was been both in primary and secondary school as well. Um, yep. And since education is such a broad word, right? Even up to tertiary as well in college, I wouldn't say that I was bullied as well, but I was left out. I would say left out. I would say bullied, but I was left out as well in the groups because my social awkwardness lasted. I would say my social awkwardness even lasted until today. I'm not sure, Bob, if you can actually notice that. So apparently every time when I walk into a special needs school, the special needs teachers would say that, John, I think you have undiagnosed ADHD. I would say so lah. But nevertheless, I'm thankful that somehow my bosses, my peers, even my team, and those people under me who reports to me, right? In my company, for example, at work, um, somehow they still they I don't think they think that I'm okay. How do I put it? They still find me socially acceptable for some reason. Yeah, so to speak. So what I understand is that as a person like me who grows older with undiagnosed ADHD or maybe undiagnosed, I think I might also slight undiagnosed autism. Um, as you grow older, you will learn how to. I think there's a term where you will learn how to normalize as well, so to speak. You know how to adapt and normalize. But just to let you know, from primary till tertiary, right? Um, I because of my, but again, it's unknown. So it could be true, it could be not true. But I would just say because of my social awkwardness, I suffered uh through till up to I was in college and in university. But thankfully, in terms of my grades, I was still able to pass my papers, get my so I did ACCA without a degree. So I still managed to get my professional qualification. Thankfully, I was still able to get a job, and I'm still able to today, provide for my family. So on that aspect, I'm quite thankful. Yeah. So
Love that.
but I would say that the authorities, at least the school authorities, do take bullying seriously as well. So if yours is a sin case and you make a report, the authorities will take action actually. Yep.
For
So yeah.
the the when you were talking about, well, how about this? What type of person were you in high school, in secondary school?
Okay, so in primary school, I was actually quite I would say an obnoxious person. It's like okay, for example, I don't understand like why some people they would share their book or share their goodies, or share their things with their friend, and why not with me? And I will get jealous, and I don't understand. So I don't understand social dynamics, or I don't understand how relationships are built, or maybe I just don't understand how to build deep friendship, for example, right? Uh and then I'll be obnoxious and I try to force my hey, not fair. Why aren't you not being my friend as well? And then I try to force and budge my way in when people are talking or having a conversation. So I was very obnoxious, right? And then at primary school, okay, this one thing weird about me. I'm actually quite a small person. Okay, so I just confess I 167 cm, so I'm about right now my height about 5 feet 5. I'm quite I in a Malaysian context, I'm considered not really small or short, right? Because Asians tend to be a few inches shorter than compared to people from the West. So I would say I would say I have a slight Napoleon complex as well. A short man complex. So I'll go around. Hey, I'm small and short, but I'm tough too. I try to act tough, and then I'll try to like oh gosh. In fact, I think I might be the one that also is bullying others as well, right? Go around forcing my way into conversation. I go around, arm wrestling with people just to prove that hey, I may be small but I'm strong too. Oh, in fact, now as I think back, actually I was really an obnoxious person. Lah. It never even happened even up to secondary school. Yeah. So secondary school, that was the time also when your hormones kick in and you start working out as well, start exercising. So yeah, I wasn't really muscular at that time, but I would say I was I think there's this term, right? I was a fighter cock lah, right? So I would always like to show I'm strong and tough. And even when okay, so remember I was talking about racial bullying. Even when I was bullied by a group of Malays, I would still say, if you have guts, why not come and fight me one on one? Why 5 on 1? Why 10 on 1? That kind of thing. I would jeer at them, and then they will just look at me and just walk off and suck lah, right? That kind of thing. So yeah, that's how I was in primary and in secondary school.
How have you
Yeah.
changed? How have you changed in your adult life, or what are the biggest differences?
Okay. So when I was in college and when I started to work, I began to realize that I believe I toned down. I believe I toned down, but I was still a very I would say a competitive person. Now, whether I'm competing in a healthy manner, I'm not sure, but I know I was very competitive still. Competitive for the wrong reasons, or maybe competitive for the wrong things, right? Like if at work you want to be competitive in your performance, that is great, right? You want to be a top performer, but maybe you want to compete for more attention. Maybe you want to compete for I don't know what did I do in the office last time. Oh, so embarrassing just thinking back. Uh,
Share that personal story. Share the story.
yeah. So I know. I'm just thinking. Okay. So okay, I tell you what. uh, maybe okay. So you see, when I was in college at university, I did not really had a campus life. Uh, because okay. So here's the thing, right? When I was studying for my ACCA, okay. So ACCA means Association of Certified Chartered Accountants. Qualification. I was actually attached to some of this what we call smaller colleges, right? So what they do is that they provide the tuition, but when you go for the external exams, you actually sign up separately with ACCA, and ACCA will have their own designated uh, um of what designated place of exam, so to speak. So it's two separate things. Meaning, if you wanted to just study by yourself, you could self study. Okay, so what I was trying to say is that so because of that, I did not really had a campus life. Um, I just meet all kinds of so at one time I went for night classes where you met people who are working as well, right? Working people who are much older than me. Then at times I chose to go for morning classes. So that's where you also met foreign students. But so I had no campus life. So I would say in college and university when you don't really have a campus life, there's no need. I mean, you won't really suffer isolation or bullying because in the first place you won't have that opportunity, or you won't feel as though you're rejected because in campus life you do assignments together, you do assignments together and everything, and you socialize, and you have a community. So I did not have that in college or university, so to speak. So I would say that was uh life then was much more bearable. Okay, so so here's the thing. When I first started working, what happened was, hey, I'm sorry, Bob, I didn't really organize my thoughts, or plan how I'm gonna speak. So
No.
I know I'm pretty messy everywhere. I don't know how you're gonna edit the video later, but anyway, so when I went to okay, so when I started working in my first company, I shall not name the company, so that I don't harm my career or my resume. I would say, being a fresh graduate, I should be more humble. I should have a learning attitude and everything. No, I do not. I thought that it's something like a small kid. Like my daughter now, she's 5 years old. She thinks she knows it all. She likes to show that Papa, I'm smarter than you, I'm better than you. You know that kind of childish mentality lah. I got to admit lah, look back in hindsight lah, that kind of thing lah. And I do a lot of embarrassing things, see a lot of embarrassing stuff. And of course, they know me, them knowing me, I'm a fresh grad. They were very forgiving and everything. But when I look back, right, I mean, I had such an immature behavior, lah, so to speak. So that's what I mean by being competitive in the wrong way. Like, I'm trying to show, hey, I'm fresh, I'm a freshie. But just because I'm a freshie, I can know better than all of you, even though you have like 5, 10, 15 years of working experience, that kind of thing. Yeah, but so how did I came to realize what is wrong with me, right? Okay, this is one problem. This is the part, right? This self-realization or self-awareness, to be honest, I can't actually pinpoint at what point I begin to realize all these embarrassing things that I'm doing lah. But I began to realize bit by bit, and I just sort of stopped doing it lah, right? And finally, and it was a funny thing. I just asked my wife, right? Because before then was my girlfriend. I told her, can't you see, all this while when you were dating, can't you see that I was a weird person or I was doing a lot of weird stuff? My wife told me, no, just didn't realize. So there's a part that I couldn't brain it. Maybe my wife is just so used to uh my friends call me eccentric, so used to my eccentric behavior or personality that maybe she just accepted me just the way I am lah. But there are friends who told her lah, hey, I think your boyfriend is weird. Why are you dating him? Why are you with him and everything lah? Yeah, yeah. So yeah, this is one of the things that still puzzles me until today lah, right? So really love. I think there's a saying, right? Love has no boundary, is it? Or maybe beauty is the eye of beholder or something like that. Yeah.
I think it's because you have such a big heart, man. Just talking to you right now, like I like regardless of how you're acting or where your thoughts are or anything of that you
Okay.
feel like you
Okay.
have, I think
So
your heart
okay.
really speaks.
So to put a disclaimer, right? Uh, if you really think I had a big heart, it only started when I was 30. Actually, before that, I was a very selfish person, a selfish prick. That's why I said, I claimed that I was bullied But actually now when I look back at it, actually I was the one that was going around annoying people as well, right? And you see, if I had a big heart, if I was a caring person, people wouldn't. You see, if you were bullied by one or two people, maybe bullied by one or two of the popular mean people, in high school you got the popular kids and everything, blah blah blah, right? And they bully you, right? Then it will just be that group of them bullying me. But now this is like the whole school bullying me, or making me feel left out, casting me out, So if everyone don't like you, means there's really something wrong with you. So so back then, actually, to be honest, I was a selfish prick as well, Bob. Yeah, I mean, thank you for trying to be nice and make me feel better on myself. But I think the truth is I was a selfish prick even before I was 30. So that's why I really don't know what my wife saw in me, to be honest. And her mom keep telling her that, hey, just don't date John. Can't you see how weird John is? I really don't know what my wife saw in me, lah. But I'm thankful, lah, right? At the age of 30, but again, religion is a personal thing, right? I think I would say my religion really did help me a lot, right? And now I'm old now, lah. This I'm 36, so I'm just thankful, lah. It just in this 6 years, it
That's part of
just
life. Growing up, growing up.
yeah. But it was just like at the age of 30, it just hit me really hard that, hey, I have a daughter, I'm a father, I have to be responsible, I need to take my life seriously. What I do now will affect her as well, and it just hit me so hard. That's it, lah, right? And then, hey, I used to experience social awkwardness, loneliness, and all this. I'm a weird person, so I feel the pain when I see them going through this as well. So it just hit me that hard when I was 30 lah. Yeah. So, but if you ask me, did I have a big heart back then? I would say no, Bob, to be honest. Yeah. So
Well, thank you for being honest. I only know
yeah,
you today. I only see you who you are now. Not I don't judge you for who you are in the past. So that's why I said that. But let's move to the next topic, which
sure,
is
sure.
love. Tell us, what is love?
Okay. Uh, I do not want to give a Bible answer. Being a Christian, I also do not want to
It's up
give
to
a
you.
quote,
Whatever
right?
you want to
Yeah. So I would say love gives meaning to life. If you think about it, right? If you have no love, you have no life. Think about it. When you're at your dying bed, right? You will not think, oh, how successful I was, how much money I've made, right? Um, Even how many friends I had or how popular I was, right? I think when you're at your dying bed, what really matters is the memories and and what other things are leaving behind for your loved ones, right? And again, how much your loved ones will deeply appreciate you for losing you. And all these memories actually stems from love, right? If you think about it, right? So to me, love is really the catalyst to the meaning of life.
give.
Yeah.
Love that. Tell us about your first child, Jaylin. How did that, I guess, how did that experience, change your idea of love, having a child?
Okay. It's actually okay. For me, it's very simple actually, right? Okay, so at the time, I think COVID was COVID happening that time. Okay, never mind. For some reason, okay, so here's the thing, right? I could not witness her delivery from my wife's womb. Because what happened was, when she was admitted into the ward, the doctor told me, please don't wait here. You go home. Once she's about to give birth, we'll call you and you come and hold her hand and witness the experience and everything. Uh, lo and behold, I was so tired because at the time I also was still, doing work on my laptop, crunching numbers, right? I was so tired, I fell asleep when I woke up. I called the hospital. Your wife has already delivered. Faster come, come over and visit. And it's good news. Everything is in order. She's well. Baby is healthy and everything. You miss it, right? I came. So sad lah, right? Bob. I wish to give you a very, like a dramatic kind of experience. Wow, as I saw the baby coming out, I felt so touched. But unfortunately, I didn't have the experience, right? So I fell
How did your
asleep.
wife feel about that?
Sorry, come again, Bob. Sorry.
How did your wife feel about that?
Um, okay, my wife insisted not to take epidural. You know, epidural is where you inject that painkiller into your backbone. She insisted she didn't want because for some reason, her friends, some of them actually had some really bad ache. So it was a painful experience. It was a painful experience, and the first one was a bad experience. Um, so doctors right have many ways to, because our baby was considered quite large, right? So there are many ways how to remove the baby. You can actually like cut the side a little bit, or you can massage it out. So what the doctor did was, they used this machine called, I don't know what is it called, but there's this term called forcep. I think forcep is the term of you actually, because I remember you told me that you were studying, you actually studied medicine, right? You're a doctor, right?
I'm
Yeah.
studying medicine. Yeah.
Oh, exactly. Yeah. So I think the doctor used a pump. Is it forcep pump to suck out the baby? And then as they were sucking out the baby, it was still a little bit. The baby was my child was a little bit too big still, so they had to make a small incision so that she could come through lah. So just a small incision, a small cut lah. But anyway, it was a very painful experience for her. I would say the second one, the second experience, which is to get our second baby, was much smoother, not as painful and not as bloody bloody as the as the first one. Um,
No,
as
but how
when I
did
was,
she feel about you not falling asleep and not being there?
oh, she wasn't angry at me lah. She was very understanding. She was okay, dear, it's okay. Yeah, I know you also have been working late nights, and everything. And yeah, she was very
Those
understanding lah. Yeah, she's very understanding. And not to be honest, I mean, to be honest, I'm really blessed to have a very understanding, beautiful wife. Um,
How did you meet her? Tell us the story.
oh, okay. So as I said, very simple. I met her in church as well. So I was 11 and she was, it was so I was 13 and she was 11. That was the first time I met her in church. But we didn't date back then. We started dating when I was 19 and she was 17. And then she had to go to Singapore. She was a ASEAN scholar. She went to Singapore to study, and then it was quite kind of a long distance. And then she came back for that few years, and then she also went to USM Penang again to do a PhD. And then finally she came back for good, and then we got married in 2 years' time.
I love that. I love that.
Was it two
What
years or one? Yep, yep. Sorry. Go ahead. Go ahead. Yeah.
for the love aspect? Do you have when you were younger? Did you have trouble with your parents? Like, how did your parents deal with
Oh, okay.
everything?
Yep. Yep. I've a problem with my parents. So okay. So here's the thing, right? My dad is actually the elder of the church. Okay, that I am attending. But you see, I'm not sure how. Okay, so there are many what we call Christian denominations. So my Christian denomination is called Brethren. So how the Brethren churches run their church is they do not hire paid pastors to run the church. Even the elder, which is my dad, we are all running the church on a voluntary basis. So he has his own business, he has his own job in the past and everything. Okay. So okay. So my dad being the elder of the church, he's disappointed with me. Why? Because, John, you grew up with us as a Christian. You read the Bible with us every day. I pray with you every day, and you don't seem to be to understand, what it means to be a Christian or what it means to be a good person or a person with a big heart, right? Why so selfish? Why so rebellious and blah 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 lah, that kind of thing, lah, right? Um, that includes my mom. My mom also was disappointed with me, right? And then my grades was not too bad, but my mom and dad also say, why can't you be like your two? So there are four of us, four sons. I'm the third son. Why can't you be like your two older brothers? Why can't you be like your younger brother who's more religious and everything, right? Yeah. So they're very disappointed with me, lah, right? Of course, right now they're very happy with me, right? When they see how I just turned 180 degrees, right? So let me be very upfront here. I respect uh people's right to religion and people's right to their own worldview, right? I do not impose, but but you see, religion and worldview also plays a good. I would say it plays a good role or a vital role in everyone's life, right? Because when you have a sense of religion or a sense of worldview in your life, right, it becomes a certain moral compass as well, right? Right. So yeah, yeah.
How did you deal with that when you were younger? You know, like when you're Like I know a lot of kids, they don't get along with their parents. They have trouble communicating with them, or their parents don't understand them. How did you um
Get along with them. Well, my parents sort of just accepted that they can they can do their best, they can nag all they want and leave the rest to God, right? Hopefully God will just speak to his heart, and the prayer was answered, right? Like I say. So if you don't mind me just continuing from my wife, right? When I was talking about my wife. So when I was in the room, so I mean in the sorry, in the, I don't know what I call that, right? In the pregnancy room, my wife, I saw my baby. The moment when I saw my baby, I held my baby in my arms, right? So I would say lah, my prayers were answered, my parents' prayers were answered. That was a moment when God actually spoke to me in my conscience. Of course, it's not like, auditory where I actually hear God's voice, like the charismatic Christians. No, it wasn't like that. It was just in my conscience. I just felt that God, you have been good to me, right? Finally, I understand why my parents are so concerned about me. Right now, me being a parent, I can understand their point of view so much better now, and why they. And to be honest, like I said, like, I was a prick, lah, right? I was selfish towards my classmates. I was selfish towards people. I was selfish towards my parents. I was selfish even towards my girlfriend, now my wife. No, I'm just telling you, Bob. So ever since, in how I understand it, ever since I came back, right, to to my Lord and Savior Jesus, I would say lah, right, it's a bit like a debt that I owe to God lah, right, for all the wrong things I did. I want to really help these special needs people, and that's how I pay back the debt lah, so to speak lah. But actually, how I understand is actually there's no debt to be paid, right? Because how I understand, according to how my religion view, is that Jesus has washed all my sins away by his blood, right? But I live as though I have still an outstanding continuing debt of love. And that is actually a verse in the Bible, right? So even though Jesus has paid for all your debts in terms of your sin, but you still have a debt to love outstanding. You still have an outstanding love debt towards everyone.
mm,
Now, I'm not saying that I apply that very well. I'm not saying that. I still have my ego and my my way of thinking and way of doing things, right? But I would I would dare to say that I'm trying lah. I would say I'm trying my best, but I'm trying lah, right? And I'm so thankful that at least in this past 6 years, I'm glad lah, right, that there are special need parents that give me feedback that they're really thankful for what I do for their children by just being their friend and really enjoying their companionship, going out with them for movies, not just give you money, just be a teacher to you and that's it, but do not want to, don't be your friend, and and I'm and not being proud to tell others publicly that this is my friend. I enjoy hanging out with him, right? I think that is what the special need community wants. They want people that are willing, right, to declare their friendship with them publicly, right, and not be ashamed of it, right? Yeah.
I
Yep.
love that.
Okay. Okay. Yep. Yep.
How
Yep.
do you how do you how do you how do you how do you receive love?
How do I receive love? How do I receive love? Okay. So I think there's this love language thing, right? I think there are 4 love languages, is it? So I think I receive love in all the 4 languages as well, all right? My wife will once in a while encourage me, compliment me. My wife once in a while will give me a hug, right? My once in a while will cook me a nice meal, My parents too. So I I think I receive love in these 4 languages as well, sufficiently from my parents, from my wife, even for some of my close friends. Uh, uh actually, I think, right. I actually, now as you ask me this question and I'm thinking, right. Actually, I realize now how blessed am I as well, right. I would say I would say I've sufficient love in my life, lah, right. And again, me being a Christian, I would say that, like I said, right, faith is each to one's own interpretation. Every time when before I sleep, when I close my eyes and I pray, right, Bob, life can be really be stressful, lah, huh? And trust me, I'm not trying to be a preacher to you now, lah, right? But life, can be very stressful, and I'm glad that, Bob, you do some form of meditation as well. Life can be really be stressful, right? So, like for myself, family stress, work stress, even serving in the special ministry can have stress as well, right? And then you have friendship stress, friends don't get along with you, right? So this world is full of stress. But at night before I sleep, when I close my eyes and pray and I commit all my stress to God, I'm just a human being. Many times I feel helpless. Many times I can do my best and really right the result. And whatever happens, whatever happens, it all really just depend on you, God. So God, I'm just praying and I'm committing all of this to you, right? And so when I pray or when I meditate or when I read my Bible, I feel this, what we call this peace of God that comes into my heart, right? So, and that is how I know God's love. And that's not how I know God loves me, right? Because I get his peace, I get his assurance that everything, right, will still turn out right. Okay,
That's
but
excellent.
but Bob, just to let you know, when I tell this to some of my friends, right, they're telling me, so are you saying, John, you know, when God, but I don't want to go that direction. So God, so John, are you saying that when God allows evil to happen, like, you know, when people get raped, people die of hunger, John, how do you then reconcile it back to your faith and blah blah blah? I hope, Bob, you don't start asking me to do this kind of theological explanation. Okay, I can if I have to, but I do not wish to do that here right now. Okay, but I'm personally, this is how I know that I don't lack love, right? I've enough love from God, and I've enough love from my loved ones as well. Like, well, and Bob, I believe, Bob, to a certain extent also, you are showing me love, you know, by opening up. I mean, to be honest, like, Bob, when I texted you on Instagram, right, you don't actually have to reply me back, right? Knowing when I could be not a potential customer, right? And yet you still text me and still wanted to get to know me as well, you know, Bob. So I believe this is also how you show me love, you see. So even from acquaintances like you, Bob, right? Just knowing you shortly, I'm thankful. Even you now, right now, you are also showing me a certain degree of love already, and I'm thankful. So yeah, I'm thankful. Like all my life, I've received love. So now I want to give back love to people who have not experienced much love, lah. Yeah,
That's a
yep,
great answer. That's a great
yeah,
answer.
yeah, yeah.
Keeping up with love, let's move on to the last topic of the day, which is money. Tell us, as an accountant, for the kids who want to start their own business, whether they want to sell nasi lemak on the street, what are top two business tips from an accountant point of view?
Oh, okay, okay. So can I try to rephrase your question? Your question is, if you were to do a business in Malaysia, what are the top two most profitable business? Is that your question?
Sure, if you want to take it like that, from an accountant's point of view, from your experience as an accountant.
Okay, from my okay. So to be upfront, right? Actually, if that's the case, I don't know how to answer that question from my accountant point of view, because as an accountant myself, actually, so this is the only thing I do actually. I put my savings in FD, fixed deposit. I put my savings in REITs, right? Um, and I'm now and I also try. I do not disclose too much because I think personal wealth is a confidential topic, and I'm still trying to acquire more and more properties as well. So these are three things. I'm heavily influenced by my father because my father, he always calls himself a property man, right? And I'm not sure. It's again, you know, Bob. US is advanced. Canada is so advanced in teaching people how to invest their money in their savings. So if I'm not mistaken, once upon a time in US and Canada, there was this few leading people who also call themselves a property man, lah, right? So I think my father must have watched some of the videos or read some of the books, and he also learned from them, lah. I think that what was his name? Robert T. Kiyosaki. I think in his book he also wrote that property is one of the best way to actually invest in as well. If I'm not mistaken, Robert T. Kiyosaki also said that, I mean, cash can be king, property can also be king. It depends how you look at it. But arguably, property is king as well, right? So, so I think my dad read some books. He applied it in his business, in his investment, and then I learned it from him, and that's what I do, lah. So he also doesn't run a property. Sorry, he doesn't run a business per se. He did, but now he has been semi-retired since 20, 30, 40 years already. So what he does is that he just uses his savings, you know, like I said, right, he'll put some in fixed deposit, some in property, and collect rental income, right? And then maybe, you know, some when it goes up in value, right? You try to, you know, earn from the capital gain. Um, and then he also does some investment in shares, only certain shares to get dividend. He doesn't actually trade shares anymore because he has burned himself a few times like in shares and also in forex as well. Okay. So from my next experience and I'm a coward lah to burn my hand as well. So I just learned from my dad's experience that actually the safest is just to invest in FD, invest in property and collect rental income, and just invest in REITs lah. And if you have more money, put in shares to get dividend lah.
I love
So
that.
so so
How
so so so, so as an accountant, so I would say an accountant lah, right? I'll just say for myself, I do not know. I've been thinking of wanting to have my own business, right? I always had that thought, but until today, I don't have an idea how to do it. To be honest, like for example, I'm an accountant. I could just start an accounting firm or an audit firm, right? Or maybe, but I mean, I know how to. I work closely with my CEO in my company to actually come up with the projection, like for the costing and everything. But somehow when it comes to me wanting to do my own side business, after when I like punch in the numbers and everything and punch in the projection, I don't know why I just can't see the end of the tunnel, right? Don't ask me why, but I just can't. Yeah, so yeah, that's probably the best answer I could give you right now, Bob. Yep. And the
how
viewers.
important is bookkeeping, record keeping?
Come again, sorry.
How important is bookkeeping, record keeping?
I think it's very important because I think Bob, you also I'm sure you file your file your accounts and file your taxes and everything for your business as well, right? So I'm sure you actually get someone to do accounts for you. So you want to know what are you actually spending on, lah, right? And how you can cut costs and if you're making a loss or your profit is getting lesser, what is some I mean you want to know what is your cost efficiency of your business, right? So cost efficiency means if you're cost efficient, it means that you're spending less, right, to get that same amount of revenue. So of course it's very important, right? So you want to spend your money as efficiently to bring in that bulk of revenue, right? So and most of the time it's marketing expenses. So then you need to ask yourself, how can you make your marketing expenses effective or efficient as much as possible, right? And I think Bob, you doing the photography business, I think can I just make a guess? Uh, your the marketing spend that is the most effective for you so far is Facebook and Instagram, right? Can I say that? That's where you get most of your leads from, right?
Yeah. I also
Yeah.
do cold calls.
Cold calls. Okay. Cold calls actually work. Okay. Okay. Yeah. So yeah. So just to share you like even in my company, we actually get Facebook, LinkedIn, and there's one more company I forgot. To actually give us leads generation as well. And then that is how we actually market our products. We don't actually advertise it on the papers or anything anymore like that. No more traditional marketing. It's all just social media.
Of course.
Yeah, yeah. So
What? Why? If you say that record keeping and bookkeeping is so important, how come so many people are so bad at it?
okay. The the brutal word is lazy. The better word is indiscipline. So even like me, I also keep a personal accounts for myself, right? Um, I I actually key into an Excel spreadsheet every month what we actually spent. I mean, I can always go to into my bank statement or into my credit card statement, just print download in Excel. But sometimes they are yeah yeah. Actually, now I think about it, actually I could have done that, right? Why I didn't do that? Okay, but anyway, I can actually download it and then I can maybe like copy paste it into another Excel and then but the point is, right, it requires you it requires effort. People are lazy lah. So even me, an accountant, also by profession, I feel lazy also maintaining a personal monthly account as well. But I'll still do it. I will still do it no matter how tedious it is, no matter how painful it is every month, right? Because I want to know how I'm spending my money, right? How much I've been spending on my meals, how much I've been spending on holidays, how much I've been spending on petrol and everything. So yeah, so that's the answer lah. People are just indisciplined lah, right? It's painful as, but I think there are ways to make it less painful. Like as I say, in fact, why am I so why am I not so smart, right, or sophisticated, right? I could have just downloaded the bank statement or credit card statement in Excel, and then massage it, and then because like me, most of my expenditure is with credit card, right? So, or if I use my credit card half the time, that would be half of it already there. Then if 50% of it is with cash, then I just have to key in manually based on the receipts. So I actually have a box where we put all our receipts there. And I'll just take it and just start keying one by one. Yeah.
That's good. I like that. Well, that's pretty much it for today. Any last
okay.
words for kids? Last piece of advice? Any last things you want to say to the children listening? Maybe for your daughter when she grows up, maybe she sees this.
What do I say? Well, uh, well. So Bob, here's the thing, right? I think life is short, so we need to give an account for our life, lah, right? And I know we have a maker, and I know we have a creator, right? So one day we will have to face him, and we have to give an account of our life, lah, right? So let's live our lives rightly, lah, I would say. Yeah.
Okay, that's great.
I
Where can people find you if they want to reach out to you?
You can just give them my number on my Facebook or my. Are we connected on Facebook?
No. How about your Instagram? I can give them your Instagram.
Yeah. I would prefer Facebook lah. Actually, we can connect on Facebook. Yeah, it's better. Just give them my Facebook. I'll give you my Facebook later. Is that okay?
What's your Facebook right now? Is it John Lian?
Okay. Let me just go to Facebook now. Bob, is the interview bad because I'm not because it isn't smooth? I wasn't like speaking smoothly all the way. we expected that.
It's fine. Don't worry about it. Well, to wrap it up then, before I forget, actually, if you are based in the U.S. and you are having depression, suicidal thoughts, and you are experiencing loneliness and you don't have anyone to talk to, feel free to text home to 741-741. And then if you are based in Malaysia and you are experiencing suicidal thoughts or depression or anxiety and you need someone to talk to, feel free to WhatsApp 6018-9888-058. That is a national 24 hours a day, 7 days a week hotline for anyone to see. And all I ask is that if you're feeling generous, that you do consider supporting the community hotline. Other than that, guys, that's it for our episode today. John, thank you for joining us. And we will see you guys next time. Thank you.